And of course, you went to the news conferences with Brian Kelly and both coordinators, correct?
It's just been Brian Kelly so far, but
Okay.
tomorrow we're expected to have Kelly and then some assortment of coaches and then 4 players. And by the way, thank you for the nice comments, Mark. That was very nice of you to say about the site. But yeah, we're supposed to have Kelly, 4 players. 12:30 p.m. is when we're supposed to get availability. I'm not sure how long that practice will last, but I'm thinking it's going to be far more than the 25, 30 minutes that we got just the other day. So it should be interesting to see who we get to talk to. I'm hoping for Robert Steeples. I'd love to ask that man a few questions. I'm really intrigued by what he has planned for his future, for the future of DBU as the new cornerbacks coach of LSU. It'll be interesting, Mark, for tomorrow.
Lon, what are your impressions of Brian Kelly?
Oh, okay. He's been so bizarre in a good way. I love it because everything you've heard about him, he has turned it on its head. There's been organization that I've just loved. Everything has been so organized, even down to a T, even with regards to the media, where we can sit, writers in the front, people right here, everything's so regimented. This is where everyone goes. It's very alien to a lot of LSU media, especially LSU media. We're saying, this is the first intense practice we've seen in a long time. Usually players are just running through the turnstiles. People are just, yeah, rah, rah, rah. And every time I've watched practice footage, watched a lot over the last 3-4 years, especially, it's just been kind of exactly what they were kind of saying. Just a lot of be seen and, kind of look around, look cool. This was a lot different, Mark. This was intense. There was some organization there. There was some coordination. You saw Kelly kind of shuffling between each position group, and he would have, I think it was Will Redmond who he was talking to mostly, and then I believe J.R. Belton at other times, kind of checking in with certain positions, mostly on the offensive side. Kelly would bring them all together and stuff like that at times, going over, checking it with Cortez Hankton. Frank Wilson was going at some of the running backs at times. Noah Kane isn't there yet on campus, but we saw John Emery up close and personal. He looked great. He looked in good shape, catching the football out of the backfield as well. With Kelly, though, the culture change has taken effect, Mark. He's also a kind of a funny guy too in the media room. It took me by surprise during his first press conference, and it continues to take me by surprise. Some of his more whimsical comments, but there's guys he's been able to convince to change their habits almost overnight, Mark. I don't know how he's done it. There's guys who are hurt, who shouldn't be there, who usually have every excuse to not be in the facility. They're there working through like holidays and all sorts of things when they're still hurt. Dellinger, I saw him in the facility working, walking through into the cafeteria, hanging out. They're still involved. He wants the guys to still be involved. He had no problem being very candid about his relationship with Kayshon Boutte, saying that I know it. He literally, before he had a drink of water, he said, "I know his last name," and then drank his thing of water. And it was like, what? That's all he knew basically was just his last name. But then he expanded and kind of was like, you could tell he was amused by something with Kayshon. There was something, that a showdown he had where Kayshon and him had some type of maybe a disagreement. I don't know. But all I know, I'll say this right now that is of note. When I asked M. Boutte, Kayshon's father, about the comments, he had no problem with it. He said they were on target. He loved it. He had no problem with what Brian Kelly said. I think it was almost Brian Kelly trying to light a fire under Kayshon and say, like, let's bring it. Almost, I don't know how to explain it. He's playing a psychological game, almost the type of games that Phil Jackson would play with his guys back in the Bulls era with the media. I think those type of games were there, and I the Booty family had no problem with it. It's very interesting. Brian Kelly, he's sowing the seeds of this project. I don't whether it takes this season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons, LSU are going in the right direction, Mark, because I just feel there is a cohesion, there is a strength, there is a mindset, there's a mentality. There's just a building blocks here. They identified exactly what holes in the team they had to fill with this tattered roster. They attacked them the best they could. They had no problem scaring off Miles Brennan by going and getting another quarterback too. Like everything is about the betterment and the solidification of the team.